All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Here are the 8 guys the 49ers, or 8 players, not the only 8, but 8 players that the 49ers met with at the scouting combine this week in Indianapolis. And it's a great list. And we're brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, marinautoglass.com, 415-883-3030. And we're also brought to you this month by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Call Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And we're also brought to you by Valley Hill Roofing.net. They are at 209-481-6851. If you need a quality roofer, Valley Hill Roofing.net. I recommend them highly. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the players the 49ers met with in Indianapolis at the scouting combine. And it's a great group. I mean, seriously, almost every single one of these guys really would be a phenomenal draft choice. We'll start with the first one, Austin Booker, who's a defensive end from Kansas. I love Booker, man. He wore number 9 for Kansas. He's 6'6", about 250 pounds. He's from Greenwood, Indiana. He started his career at University of Minnesota and then transferred to Kansas. Was a high school hoop player as well. 8 sacks this year, 2 forced fumbles, super tall and angular. He's got a really nice swim move. Austin Booker, take a look at number 9 from Kansas. Niners met with him in Indy. Another guy that I love and I've had mocked to the 49ers a couple times is another in the long line of the Ellis family, and this is Jonah Ellis, the defensive end / outside linebacker for Utah. He wore 83. You say, why 83? Well, that was his father's number when his father played at Utah. And this kid's from Moscow, Idaho, went to high school there in Idaho, and just a terrific player. I mean, really, really good player. Moved from linebacker to defensive end before the 2022 season. He was a semifinalist for the Bednarik Award. Just an awesome player, man. 35 career games as a Ute. 18 of them are starts. I started at defensive end in 10 games this year and then sustained a season-ending injury late in the year. Had a strip sack in the win over Cal. I watched that game. Just a really good player. Pac-12 academic honor roll. Really good player. Led his high school team to 2 district titles. Now, his father, Luther Ellis, was a first-team All-Conference and All-American at Utah in the early 90s, and then played in the NFL for a decade, and is currently Utah's defensive tackles coach. His brother, Caden, played football at Idaho and is now at the Falcons. His brother, Christian, is a linebacker and played in the NFL, I believe, with the Eagles earlier this year. His brother, Noah, is a defensive lineman at Iowa. So it's a football family. But Jonah is spectacular. He's got a nasty spin move. I mean, this guy can spin. He'll set it up, too, perfectly. He'll spin inside. He'll set you outside and spin inside. He's a little light for the 49ers scheme because he's about 6'2", about 250. And the Niners typically like their defensive ends to be bigger than that and set the edge. But, man, this kid is so special. Every time I watched him, he played big. He's just got great instincts. He refuses to be blocked. I love Jonah Ellis. Jonah Ellis, one of my favorite players in all of college football. All right, maybe my favorite player in this draft is Cedric Gray, the linebacker from North Carolina. And the Niners met with him as well. He was a 3-year team captain for the Tar Heels. He wore number 33. There's nothing not to like about Cedric Gray. Butkus Award semifinalist, 121 tackles as a senior, played high school hoops, 6'2", 235, first team All-ACC. The number you got to know for Cedric Gray is 369. He had 369 career tackles. This is the safest player in the entire draft. You could plug this guy next to Warner and Greenlaw and you wouldn't miss a beat. Probably going to be, my guess is either a late first or a mid-second round pick, somewhere in that range. but he's awesome, man. Cedric Gray. They're bigger guys, they're faster guys, but this guy just makes all the plays. 3-year team captain, just a tremendous player. So I love Cedric Gray. I would absolutely do cartwheels if the 49ers drafted him. McKinley Jackson, another one of my favorites. I'm a Texas A&M fan. This was A&M's one technique. He's basically a nose guard, 6'2", 325. He wore number 3 for the Aggies. He was the number 1 player. He was the Mr. High School football in the state of Mississippi coming out of high school. Team captain for the Aggies as a junior and a senior. McKinley Jackson looked great in the one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl and the practices leading up to the game. I love McKinley Jackson, man. And A&M's had some big-time guys in recent years. Justin Matabuke. This guy's a different player than Matabuke. Matabuke is a little bit faster. This guy's stronger and more of a fire plug. But, man, if you're looking for that dominating interior player to put next to Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave, this is it right here. McKinley Jackson. He's probably going to be a second-round pick out of A&M. Love McKinley Jackson. Another guy the Niners met with is Darius Robinson from Missouri. 6'5", 295, somewhere in the 285, 295 range. He wore number 6 at Missouri. And just a great player. He was late to football. First year of football was his junior year of high school. So, and then he goes to Missouri. He's an academic honor roll student. He was a first-team All-SEC player this year. He was the practice player of the week at the Senior Bowl. He's coming off a year where he had 8.5 sacks. I think you can play this guy as a defensive end. I mean, he's 290, 295. He may drop down to 280, 285. But to me, this is the player you want opposite Nick Bosa. This guy can set the edge in the run game. He's got a motor that just revs really, really high all day. Love Darius Robinson. Very special player. Probably going to be a late first-round pick. I'm not sure if he'll even get to the Niners at 31, but I love Darius Robinson. Another guy that I really love in this draft is Javon Solomon, the edge rusher from Troy State. He wore 6 one year. I think his final year there, he wore number 6. His second to last year, he wore number 41. He's a Tallahassee, Florida kid who had 16 sacks this year. He had 4 in one game against Louisiana Monroe. He had 3 forced fumbles this year. He had 18 tackles for loss, 33 career sacks. Solomon is what you're looking for in an edge rusher. He's got a wrestling background, so he understands leverage. He's got a motor that revs hot. He was the best player on Troy State's team. Man, you could have scouted this guy from a satellite. I mean, he's absolutely burns the edge, freaky athlete. Love Javon Solomon. One of the real steals, I think, in the draft is going to be Javon Solomon. Probably going to be a day 3 guy. I would say maybe round 4. He's a little undersized as an edge rusher. He may go 3rd round, but I think probably early 4th round. Love Javon Solomon. The wrestling background, you can see it on film. He's got strength. He's got a motor. He's got production. Great athlete. Javon Solomon's a monster. Another guy they met with is Mason Smith, the defensive tackle from LSU. This guy has to be seen to be believed as well. This was the top defensive line recruit in the country coming out of high school. He's a super hard worker, 6'6", about 315 pounds. He's a 3 technique. He wore number 0 for LSU. Had a knee injury in the first game against Florida State in 2022, and he missed the rest of that season. But he's a monster, man. He works hard. He plays hard. This is a really, really good football player. Spent 3 years at LSU. He was the SEC freshman All-American. He was all SEC as a freshman. This is the guy you want. 6'6", 315. He's a Louisiana kid, went to Terrebonne High School in Louisiana. And as I said, this was the number 1 recruit in the country. It's the guy, he opted to forego his final 2 seasons of college eligibility to enter into the draft. He's majoring in interdisciplinary studies. There's just nothing not to like. I mean, he's had the injury, so he missed a full season, but this was the nation's top D-line prospect according to Rivals. And he's got, just dominating size, strength, speed. I mean, when you see this guy in a uniform, you're like, what? What the heck's this guy? 6'6", 315 with speed. Mason Smith is crazy, crazy talented. Love that one. And then the last guy, that's the eighth guy. The ninth guy they met with is DJ James, the cornerback from Auburn. If you say, why does that name sound familiar? He had the game clinching interception that beat Cal earlier this year. Cal actually stood up to Auburn, played him really tough at Memorial Stadium, and DJ James clinched the victory for the Auburn Tigers with an interception. He wore number 4. He's 6 feet, about 180 pounds. He's from Mobile, Alabama. He started at Oregon, played his first 3 years for the Ducks, and then transferred. Excellent ball skills. A corner with good size and great ball skills who's tested well in 2 conferences, productive player, probably going to be a day 2 pick, maybe a late day 2 pick, but remember that name, DJ James. So there you go. Some of the 49ers met with some incredible players in Indy at the Combine, and those are them right there. And we'll do more profiles on these players as we get closer to the draft. But DJ James, the corner from Auburn, Mason Smith, the D tackle, the 3 technique from LSU, Austin Booker, the defensive end, 6'6" defensive end from Kansas, Jonah Ellis, who's a little bit smaller, defensive end, outside backer, super productive edge rusher from Utah, Cedric Gray, who's, as I said, the safest player in the draft, linebacker, 3-year team captain, Butkus semifinalist for Carolina, McKinley Jackson, the 1 technique from A&M, monster, Darius Robinson from Missouri, academic honor roll, super productive, came to football late, really, really great talent, and Javon Solomon, who's got the wrestling background from Troy State, an unbelievable collegiate production. So they can't go wrong with any of those guys. I'll say it right now. I've watched all those guys extensively on film. They're all really good. So if that's where, John Lynch and the Niners are, if they're meeting with guys they like, man, they like the right guys, because all those guys right there can flat out play football. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show. Have a great day, and once again, we'll have more draft stuff leading right up and through the NFL draft. I feel like I've got the thing pretty covered. I watched thousands of hours of college football this year. It's kind of a sickness. I got to admit, it's not healthy how much college football I've watched this year, but hopefully I can bring you some great content and talk a lot of draft between now and April 25th, which is day 1 of the 2024 NFL draft.